So it's been about 30 years since I started college, and I was trying to clean out the garage, and there's a ton of college textbooks and notebooks and things like that in my garage in boxes, and I want to get rid of them, but they're like very meaningful to me, and I save them for a reason. So I figured I would make videos of each book and kind of talk about what I remember about it and why I saved it for 30 years or 25 years, just to kind of remember it and let go of the, like, I don't know, some sort of anxiety that I have of what my life would be like at this point without this book in my physical possession. So the first one is one that I remember the most, called Names We Call Home, which is a textbook full of essays. It's a book of essays about racial identity. And I took it in multicultural literature at Stanislaus at the Extension in the Old Stockton Insane Asylum. And my professor's name was, I can't remember right this second, but I really liked him. He was the first white person I ever heard talk about anti-racism in a serious way. He had like some Doc Martens poster, like a poster with a picture of Doc Martens that said "Stomp Out Racism" on his office door. So he was like an interesting figure to me after being raised in the Central Valley. Anyway, so we read several essays out of this book. I don't think we read them all in class. I don't think I even read them all, even though some of them are kind of interesting. I know we read "When We Are Capable of Stopping, We Begin to See," "Being White, Seeing Whiteness" by Ruth Frankenberg, and she's Jewish, and she was talking about Jewish white identity. And that didn't mean a whole lot to me because I'd always thought of Jewish people as white. But, she kind of introduced that. This essay introduced that complexity within Jewish identity to me. But more importantly, this essay talked about white fragility and white guilt, and how that was not incumbent upon me as a brown person to like make that go away or tiptoe around that. It was like the first notion I had in my life that I did not have to navigate that for them, that was their responsibility. And I mean, that's something I still struggle with today because I was raised the other way, but that was completely my problem. But yeah, cool. Planted a seed. I was over 20 when I took this class, so I don't know if it would have been more helpful if I was younger, but it was helpful enough at the time and since, and something I've just planted a seed that has blossomed into a gigantic oak tree. Writing in Search of Home, Geography, Culture, and Language. The Creation of Racial Identity. I don't remember. Jews in the U.S., The Rising Costs of Whiteness. Playing Devil's Advocate. Defending a Multiracial Identity and Fractured Community. And 25 Waiting for Taxi by June Jordan. Anyway, those I do not remember the specifics of. I do remember one of these essays, probably the racial identity one, talking about labels and and that triggering me to think about how I always struggled with my label: Mexican, Mexican American, Chicana, Latina, Hispanic, and all the little like nuanced connotations that each of those labels had. Wow. So a seminal group of works in my education. You know, took my studies very seriously at that point, so it's just useful. Okay, so here's the ISBN number right here. Just so that if I ever need this book again, when I get rid of it, I am gonna get rid of it. I have to get rid of it. I can find it. But yeah, let's see what year it was published, just out of curiosity. 1996. So, you know, just kind of a, what do you call it? A token. No. Just a good metaphor for my education, my coming up in college during a time of, you know, racial justice, social justice, seeking on all the academics' part, at least the ones that I was seeking out myself, and how valuable that was for me, and how it created helped shape my academic self. I've always been academic, but shape my adult academic self, and what a letdown it's been to face the backlash of that time period. How excited I was in the 90s and the early 2000s to be hearing these terms and definitions and reading other people who had interesting ideas that connected and spoke to me, being a sufferer of severe racial prejudice throughout my entire childhood and adolescence. So, yeah, really good book. I don't know that it was a good book, but it was a useful book to me at that time. And gonna let go of it. Gonna let go of it. All right, bye.